I've tried to write this video about 4 times at this point, and if I'm being completely honest, I don't really know why. On the surface, Fall Guys is a pretty simple game. Think Fortnite mixed with Wipeout and Killer Bean, and you've just created the most popular video game in the entire world. But something about this game is just so hard to articulate, which makes writing a structured, orderly review quite difficult. The fact that this game has fostered such a complicated subculture makes it hard for a lot of people, including me, to sort of critique and analyze this game independently of all that. So I must ask you to keep an open mind and enjoy. Fall Guys is essentially a game show. Each time you hit play, you're put into a match with 59 other players that compete across a multitude of obstacle courses, team games, and perfect match, which is the worst thing ever made. God damn it, I fucking hate perfect match. Your goal is to qualify every round and make it to the finale, in which the remaining players face off to see who will take home the crown. Now, while this is quite a simple concept, Fall Guys has a few things that make it stand out. For example, the grabbing and diving mechanic allow for a bit more freedom in strategies and movement, as well as adding a bit of a higher skill ceiling. Now, this isn't what I would call the best use of skill-based movement, but I will concede that it does make the game more interesting overall. Much like this game's art style, which, while not spectacular, is still a nice look and a great fit. But what really is the cornerstone of Fall Guys is, well, the falling. The cartoony physics and sometimes rage-inducing level design is a key element of Fall Guys, and well, one could argue that this makes the game more fun to watch than it is to actually play, but that's a talk for later. Each of these concepts are quite prevalent in Fall Guys, especially in the map design. There is 24 maps in Fall Guys at the time of writing, and because I don't have the time to analyze every single one of them, I've chosen to focus on a few. Starting with Dizzy Heights, which is my personal favorite map, this map is broken up into 4 sections. The first spinners, boulders, second spinners, and the big spinner with boulders. From a game design standpoint, there's a clear progression as the difficulty increases and the different mechanics combine together. The first spinners and the boulders introduce new concepts, the second spinners increase the difficulty, and the last spinner combines the 2 mechanics to create something entirely new. This method of game design both makes this map super easy to learn for new players and gives seasoned players a chance to improve and show off in the later parts of the level. Now, compare this to DoorDash, which is also a race level. DoorDash is a series of doors that may or may not be real. You must guess which doors are able to be broken and get to the finish line before it's too late. The number of real doors decreases, which makes for a decent difficulty curve, but this level is severely lacking in actual substance. Instead of interweaving mechanics and altering them to make for interesting gameplay, this map simply uses one gimmick and repeats it with really no alterations. Not to mention that the gimmick itself isn't even that interesting to begin with. I just don't like it. It's not good. Unfortunately, Fall Guys seems to have more DoorDashes than Dizzy Heights, which is quite disappointing. But if I'm being honest, the race maps in this game are definitely some of the best maps in the game. And besides for DoorDash and a couple other stinkers, most race maps are actually pretty great. However, the team games are a different story. Most of the team games are renditions of tag, or basically move something somewhere. Tail tag and team tail tag are both okay, but the tail system can be unreliable, and the concept just isn't amazing. Rock and Roll and Fall Ball are pretty good, with Fall Ball being the least balanced, but also the most fun team game that I've ever played. Seriously, it's like impossible to get an even team, but it's always super fun. However, Hoarders and Egg Scramble have such annoying designs that I almost never have fun while playing these games. Hoarders is a mode where 3 teams try to move 7 balls into their respective zones. The team with the least balls at the end loses, but this causes a number of quirks. 3 teams make for a pretty different gameplay experience and also lead to some creative strategies. This is good, but since only one team loses, ties are ridiculously common. This is also an issue in tail tag and can lead to rounds which go on for way too long. In such a fast-paced game, an extra minute of nothing can really hurt the experience. It's easy to say that Fall Guys has a range of good and bad maps, but I don't think that really tells the whole story. Because, well, Fall Guys has some really strong maps, I think that some design decisions hinder many of the better maps. Take Hexagon, which is a really fun and exhilarating map that takes a simple concept and executes it ridiculously well. But because it's a final map, it's way less common than the other maps. If you only make it to the finals 1/5 of the time, then that means that you would have to play somewhere around 15 games to get Hexagon. Well, the chance of you getting DoorDash is way more likely. This means that even if 70% of the maps are good, because the bad maps are way more common, it feels like half of this game's maps are just not very good. This isn't helped by the fact that even the good maps get repetitive, and the game doesn't really have any other content besides for the one mode. Adding stuff like maybe a time trial mode, or a challenge mode, or even something akin to Fortnite Creative would make this game feel way more like a $20 experience than a bogged down demo, which in its current state is kinda what it is. But on the bright side, for a game like Fall Guys, a lack of content isn't a terrible problem to have. With the ability to add extra content and modes via updates, Fall Guys has the potential to be great. I've already said that I enjoy the core movement, art style, and gameplay, which makes the promise of more content quite exciting to me. Originally, I had a section in the script about a few major problems with this game, and while those issues do still exist, I believe that if this game receives a healthy amount of new content, that could fix many of my qualms. But if I'm being honest, the Season 2 sneak peek was a bit underwhelming, and I don't really think that just because more content is going to be added, that some major problems can just be ignored. And given what you can get on Steam for $20, I don't feel that it's right to give this game the benefit of the doubt just for some arbitrary reason. And for that, in its current state, I have to give Fall Guys a 6 out of 10. Wow, that's probably my least controversial review that I'll ever make, you know? Everybody feels the same way as me. If you do not share my opinion, please leave an angry comment. It'll really help with engagement numbers and stuff. And if you've watched this far to the video, you know, thanks. Maybe subscribe, maybe like, maybe comment something nice if you're a nice person. I'm also getting a VR headset soon, and I want to make a lot of videos about it. So if you guys have any good suggestions for sort of wacky VR games or innovative VR games or just like sort of indie VR games that not everyone's heard of, then leave those in the comments. Alright, that's the video. You can leave now.